Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys a quick and easy makeup look for school that is all drugstore, because a lot of times you want to look decent and not tired, but you also don't want to spend an hour on your makeup. You don't want to have to wake up an hour early just to put on a full face of makeup, because we all need our beauty sleep. So if you want to see how I created this look, then just keep on watching. So for primer, I'm going to be using 3 things. Now I know that seems like a lot, and you totally do not have to do this. I'm going to be using hyaluronic acid because I really like putting this on top of my primer to kind of just grab everything, kind of like a gripping primer. You do have to work a little bit fast when you use the hyaluronic acid though, because it does dry down, not sticky, but when it is sticky, it's like the perfect topper to your primer. You could, if you have dry skin, you could totally just use hyaluronic acid as a primer. But since I have oily skin, I'm going to be using a matte primer and then a pore filling primer, and then putting the hyaluronic acid on top of that. So for our first primer, I'm going to be using the Rimmel Stay Matte primer. This is about $4 from the drugstore. I really like it. I've gone through one of these so far. Hello? Probably gonna need to buy another one. So I just take this and put it mainly on the T-zone because that's where I get the most oily. I feel like that's where anyone gets the most oily. And also if you have more texture, then you're gonna want to not rub your primer in, more like pat and like roll, because that will accentuate texture that you probably don't want. And then I take the rest, what's on my fingers, and just drag it onto my eyelids. Next, I'm going to be taking my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I've actually been loving this recently. I haven't gotten super far into it. I don't know if you can see, but I'm working on it. It does do a really good job of filling in your pores. It does have a little bit of tackiness before it dries down, so that would be the optimal time to apply foundation. Okay, now I'm going to take my hyaluronic acid, but before we do that, I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation in the shade Shell Ivory. This is just a really good foundation. It's quick, easy to apply. I bought this one. I like using in the morning versus the Maybelline Fit Me foundation because the Fit Me does not have a pump or like any applicator, and you can always work off a palette. Let's see, where did mine go? Oh, I don't have it here, but you could use like a glass plate or something and just put this in there if you don't want to like spread it all over your face with the little spatula. But that's what I like to do. And it also, because yearbook people, I'm in yearbook, so I like kind of think more about this. They are taking pictures all the time, sometimes with flash, and you don't want to be caught in a situation where you have a white cast all over your face, and then that gets put in the yearbook and you just look terrible, because that's not fun. If y'all want me to do a video of like picture day makeup, like specifically for flash photography, then let me know. I don't do a lot. I mean, this might seem like a lot to people, but I try not to go heavy-handed with the foundation. And I also like to use a brush. This is the Morphe M439. It's just their foundation brush. And I'm just gonna buff that into the skin. And then I stipple. I do like little rubbing and then stippling because most of the time I don't have time to wet a sponge to get the like finish that I want. And then I'll take what's left on the brush and just kind of pat it over the eye area just to kind of give it a little bit of canceling out the veins in my eyes because not cute. Let's see. And then if you do have time to wet a sponge, then I would just pat over it. It kind of gives it, well, it does give it more of an airbrushed finish. I do prefer to use a sponge for concealer, but let's be real, no one wants to like wet a brush. Take 5 minutes to wet a sponge, not a brush. Concealer. This is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer. I'm almost like, well, I guess that'd be halfway, but I'm like a fourth of the way through it. I love this concealer. It's so good. I just put this right under my eyes because we all get those dark circles that are just haunting us. And then I'll kind of use this to spot correct as well. So the goal here is to use as less, like the least amount of products and get the best look that we can. Where did that concealer go? So I'm going to be taking the Real Techniques Dulex Crease Brush and using that to blend in my concealer. And obviously if you want to use a sponge for this, you can. I'm just showing you guys what it would look like with a brush because that's the most realistic. And if you don't want to spend $15 on the Morphe foundation brush, I've heard the Real Techniques one is also really good. I also sometimes use this to blend out my under eye concealer if I'm in like a rush and don't want to like change out brushes, then I'll switch. But for now, this is what we're using. And then I'll just blend this out. So how have you, oh my gosh, I can't talk. How has y'all's school year been going? Let me know. Mine's been going pretty good. Math's been a little tricky, not gonna lie. I am just gonna press out any creases with the sponge. Again, you can skip this if you don't want to take extra time in the morning. But if you do have the time, I would definitely recommend just going over everything with the sponge to make it look flawless. Okay, so I'm gonna be using 2 powders. I know that's a lot. But under the eyes and kind of on the eyes, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Super Stay Powder Foundation. So this is in the shade Fair Porcelain, which is actually, Fair Porcelain? I thought I got porcelain. That's probably why it's so light. Darn it. Now I know why this foundation... I'm dumb, okay? I seriously am dumb. I meant to get this in porcelain, but I got it in Fair Porcelain instead. That's why you always check before you buy stuff. And this was $11. $11! I'm so smart. And I'm just kind of putting this all in the T-zone just to kind of brighten things up a little bit. And then I'll be taking my Rimmel Stay Matte Pressed Powder, which has been used and abused. So I'm just gonna set the rest of my face with this. Probably need to get another one because I am running out. And I don't, well, not really. I just hit pan. I'm just gonna buff this in on my face. And then lightly dust this over my eyelids. Bronzer, my favorite step. So this is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in the shade Light Bronzer. But obviously, this is like $15. So if you're like, that's still a little bit out of my price range, then another one that I would recommend is the Rimmel Natural Bronzer. Mine is in the shade Sun Bronze. Hello. It's still a really good matte bronzer. The Butter Bronzer is a little bit more, it has a sheen to it, so it will be a little bit more skin-like, but the Rimmel one is still a good bronzer. They also do have some with shimmer in it if that's what you want, but you don't want to spend that much money. I'm going to be taking my Joa Large Powder Brush. I find this is actually good for bronzing. It's good for powder too, but I use it for bronzer. And then just bronze around the perimeter of your face. And make sure to go up into the hairline so it doesn't like look like you have a mask, because no one wants to be wearing a mask. Sorry if I sound a little bit like nasally. I'm getting over a cold in like the middle of summer. I know, it's crazy. Okay, so Milani blushes are my favorite. They're so pretty. They look high-end. I really like their baked blushes as well. Mine is Luminoso. But if you don't want to spend, again, like $8 on a blush, although mine has lasted me a long time, Wet n Wild has good blushes. This one is in the shade Mellow Wine. It's a little bit darker than I thought it was gonna be. So if you have like a little bit of a deeper skin tone, then this would be for you. See there. Or like medium. It might work for light skin tones as well. I don't know. It's just not my shade right now. It's more like a summer shade. Let's see. I'm just gonna take it on a angled brush and just stipple that on. If you're really in a rush, take your bronzer and then a crease brush. This is the Morphe M573. And just use this to sweep some color into your crease and transition area. If you're in a pinch or you just don't want to go out and buy like a 10 colored eyeshadow palette or something, you just want like one color, you know? This is like the perfect solution. I will be doing a little bit more of an eye look later, but that's just, you know, if you're on a time crunch. I'm trying to make this video as short as possible, but I'm talking, so I'm gonna go into highlighter. This is the Physicians Formula Butter Highlighter in the shade Pearl. And I'm gonna take my M310 and just hit the high points of the face. Ooh, I have freckles right there from summer. Because we want to be glowy. We want to have that beach glow without actually having gone to the beach. I really love this highlighter because it looks so natural. But again, if you don't want to spend that much money, like $14, $15 on a highlighter. This is the full-sized one, but I was using the like travel size. Go get a Wet n Wild highlight. They have really good highlighters. They're like $4 or $5, so really affordable. Really good quality too. And if you're like, I don't know, look up reviews, watch reviews. That's what I do before I buy makeup. I'm just gonna pat over that with a sponge. Okay, so this is our base look. So you could totally stop here, but I am going to go a little bit further just to kind of give myself a little zhuzh. Oh, lashes. I forgot lashes. I like to do my eyeshadow before I do lashes. So I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Lash Paradise and then just curling my lashes after I do eyeshadow. So for eyeshadow, I'm going to be using the Profusion Naturals palette. I know this is like huge. If you don't want to spend $10, again, Wet n Wild. I'm gonna curl my lashes. I'm gonna apply mascara. I have like so many new mascaras to try. And I'm just gonna comb through that with a clean spoolie. Setting spray. I'm gonna be using the Flower Beauty spreading. Oh my gosh, a setting spray. Wow. And again, I say, if you don't want to spend $10 on a setting spray, go get some Wet n Wild. Okay, so next I'm gonna go in with a Maybelline lipstick in the shade Baddest Beige. It's in a rose gold packaging, and that's the color. It is a little bit pricey as well. It's like $7 and you get 0.1 ounces. So, I don't know. You decide if you want to do that. I do really like it though. I've heard it's a dupe for the Marc Jacobs lipsticks. It does have a little bit of a gloss in it, so I do like that. Here is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys subscribe down below for new videos every Sunday. I upload 3 times a month. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up before you leave if you enjoyed this video, so I know to do more videos like this. And with all that being said, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!